The Faceless Man is a man who is down and out. He's depressed, and he wakes up one morning and his face has been transformed into a mirror. This story was adapted from a short story that my father wrote in a reaction to the Great Recession, and I think certainly how he was feeling.
The situation is that many Americans have lost their jobs and they've lost their homes. Frankly, a lot of the ones I spoke to say they feel like they've lost their identity. They don't see a recovery. Instead, they must find a new purpose in today's world.
Give me a break.
I remember thinking that idea, a man searching for his lost identity, would resonate with a lot of people.
The story, it had a lot of humor, but also some really serious themes, and all of that we wanted to preserve when we were adapting it, and just like the spirit of this whimsical adventure that the Faceless Man goes on.
I personally love the juxtaposition of comedy and tragedy, like right on top of each other. That's something that I really enjoy performing.
Nothing to see here.
Even within this fantastical story, I really wanted to bring the guys pain and effort.
I'm sorry. I just woke up like this. Please don't arrest me.
When we first started figuring out how we were gonna make this film, like how are we gonna make a man with a mirror for a face, we decided we were gonna do it practically.
I wasn't quite sure what the ins and outs of that were gonna be, and so it required a lot of testing just to make sure that the reflection aspect would work, and whether or not if we were gonna get the desired effect, if it was gonna show the camera, those kinds of things.
It is weird because you do not change in size no matter how close I put the camera.
Yes, it was a huge pain in the ass, but it looks so much better, and I'm glad that we did it that way.
The next step was all about the fabrication of the mask.
So we hired a company called Rogue Planet Laboratories, which is Ian Goodwin's shop, and worked with him to really develop the mask. We did a full life cast of Billy's face where they pour all the goop all over his head and make a mold, which we have like a perfect bust of Billy now in our living room. And then using that mold, he then sculpted the shape of what the mask was gonna be with clay so that we could kind of get an idea of what it was gonna look like. Then he molds it with silicone, and it's silicone, you know, it looks like skin, but it's really pale. So once they apply that to Billy's face, he then had to paint it. And so he airbrush paints it, blends it perfectly with Billy's skin. So for 3 hours every morning, Billy was in the chair in makeup.
Just the work they did was just mind-blowing. And for me, I've been doing this a long time, and I'd never had an experience like that before.
It was important to us that we would be able to pop the mirror on and off because we needed Billy to be able to breathe and drink water and eat. He had to eat cylindric foods or things on forks. I can't imagine doing what he did. It was very impressive.
Go ahead and take that off. And see, in here is Billy. And right here, 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 and here are 4 magnets that are inlaid to this silicone appliance. It's kind of like a foam donut around here, but this is literally how he was forced to work every day.
It's massively uncomfortable. It started to get really, really heavy and really, really hot.
It's a lot like 14 hours of him just taking his hands and pressing them on your face, around your eyes. Yeah, it's a lot like that for 14 hours.
Except it's not as much fun.
It's not as much fun.
So we had a couple different versions of the mirror. There was one that was two-way mirror so Billy could see through it and be able to walk around and interact with people. We had a full mirror version for close-ups because depending on the light, you could sometimes see through the mirror, which is why Billy had to have his face painted black, because if it's darker behind the mirror, then you can't see through it. And then we also had a stunt mirror, which we did, in fact, need because Billy was very animated while he was acting.
Oh, God damn it.
I just remember looking over at the mask artist who just went. It was fun driving with that on, though.
And action. A lot of different disciplines, a lot of different filmmaking techniques went into just making this short film.
There are a couple of Easter egg digital shots in the film, but 98% of it even is all practical. While the practical aspects of it really work well in terms of a mirror, performance-wise and lighting-wise and everything else that come along with it became exponentially harder.
Down, down. Okay, now to the right. So we had this fun thing on the set called the mirror game. Tilt up your chin. Yeah, closer, closer. Head down, head tilted left, tilt left, head up. With a mirror, we were working always with the tiniest degree of give or take. If Billy had turned his head just a half an inch to the left or a half inch to the right, it would have revealed 10 people standing in that corner.
I was having to just over and over and over, I'd be, crazed, and then come and see a kid, and they'd go, no, you're off by a billionth of an inch. Okay, I gotta see a kid. Yeah, no, well, now you're off by a quarter of an inch. I will never have difficulty finding a foot mark again in my life. Those are easy.
Now it.
This was, tricky.
No one had ever done anything like this before. All of the crew were like, what are you doing? Like, what? This is crazy.
When I started to really get the idea of the kinds of visuals that were going to be involved, I got really excited about that.
When you have a character whose face is a mirror, you've got to think about ways that you can play with that. The use of reflection in anything, mirrors, windows, any place where we could shoot a reflection, we wanted to shoot that. I just thought it would be a great visual motif throughout to really tie the story together. And it was a story about reflection, both literally and figuratively. We're shooting the infinity shot. We called it our infinity shot. We're shooting through a mirror onto a mirror. You're hopefully going to see an infinity reflection through Billy's face into nothing.
Or everything.
Or everything, that's the plan.
Into the nexus of the universe.
Into the nexus of the universe.
I think so.
So hopefully it's gonna work. We had the 4 foot by 4 foot piece of acrylic 2-way. Will hung it up on 2 C-stands, and we put the camera right up against it, and Billy on the other side, whose face was a mirror, looking into a mirror, gave us a complete practical infinity effect. Nailed it.
Cut.
All right, let's take your robe off.
Get the robe off, get the
Walk
mirror
through
off,
water.
bring some water.
We shot in June. We were hoping for June gloom, but of course we had a heat wave the weekend that we were shooting.
Make sure you guys get some water, stay hydrated.
Yeah, it was 106, 116, it was something hideous.
And he's in this prosthetic makeup that's very hot and heavy and claustrophobic. So we were constantly trying to keep Billy cool, putting ice packs on him.
Stay in there, roll up the window.
Okay.
Wake up very soon. I am forever indebted to that guy for doing this, because the amount of patience that he had with the whole process, so much skill, so much effort, so much perseverance. I mean, he's a rock star. Like, I couldn't imagine anyone else. This movie would not be possible without him.
You guys are all fucking awesome, thank you. I want a beefeater and tonic for lunch.
We had a great crew and cast who all worked really well under crazy, challenging circumstances, but everyone was really game, and that it would be a story worth telling and something that no one had ever seen before.
It's been a fun ride. You look good on camera.
Yeah.
God. I can't believe it's over already, and just what we've been able to accomplish, honestly. We knew it was going to be a challenge, but actually seeing it kind of come to life on film has been amazing.
That's a wrap, y'all. Woo!
Yeah.
Official wrap. Yeah.